Hello, everyone, and welcome to StrikeUP Connects, Unlock Government Resources with Corporations Canada and Innovation Canada. My name is Heather Cannings, and I am the lead for StrikeUP Canada. Thank you for joining us today. The StrikeUP Connects webinars are a free platform offered throughout the year to continue to directly connect our women entrepreneurship community with online educational webinars, tools, and business resources offered by our growth partners. You can catch any of our past webinars by heading to our website. So just a quick note before we begin, the webinar will be recorded and a copy will be sent to all registrants post-event. So feel free to rewatch or share with your network. We will have a live Q&A session after our speakers have presented. So feel free to ask any of your questions in the chat throughout the session as they come up, and we will do our best to address as many as possible today. So now let's introduce our speakers. So first we have Celeste Pinkney, who is a Training and Operations Excellence Officer at Corporations Canada. Her role is to train information officers and analysts with a view of fulfilling Corporations Canada's mandate. Corporations Canada helps Canadians incorporate businesses, not-for-profit corporations, and other corporate entities according to Canada's federal laws and regulations. The mandate of Corporations Canada is to provide regulatory climate that maintains order and fairness in the corporate law arena. This ensures greater certainty in the marketplace and creates a business environment that is supportive of innovation and economic growth while providing protection to individual Canadians. So you can learn more by visiting their website. We'll throw that link in the chat for you. So we're also joined today by Sado Yusuf, who is a Senior Outreach Strategist at Innovation Canada in the Innovators Experience branch as part of Innovation, Science, and Economic Development Canada, or ISED. In her role, Sado plans and develops opportunities to support and connect entrepreneurs and the Canadian business owners with programs and services that the Government of Canada has available. She has a background in media and communications, and her goal is to continue working in departments that will always connect her directly with Canadians across the country. She'll also be joining us from Ottawa, Ontario, on the national or traditional unceded territory of the Algonquin Anishinaabe people. And with that, I will now pass it over to Celeste from Corporations Canada to kick off our webinar today.
Thank you very much, Heather, for having me today. I'll go ahead and share my screen right now and get the presentation started. Perfect. All right, so I'm just going to give a brief overview of what I'm going to be presenting today for you guys. So firstly, we're going to be talking about who we are at Corporations Canada and what we do. Next, we're going to be talking about the benefits of incorporation and the different types of incorporation that are available to you. After this, we'll give you guys a brief overview of the benefits of federally incorporating your business as opposed to provincially incorporating your business. Then I'll pass it over to my colleague, Sado at Innovation Canada, who will discuss navigating government support for your business. And then lastly, we'll have a Q&A session where we'll be able to answer some of your questions. So first of all, who are we at Corporations Canada? So Corporations Canada is a part of ISED, which is the acronym for Innovation, Science, and Economic Development Canada. And what we do is we help Canadians incorporate their businesses, not-for-profit corporations, and also other corporate entities according to Canada's laws and regulations. And what we do is we oversee the creation and compliance of federal corporations under the following acts. So we have the Canada Business Corporations Act, which we refer to as the CBCA. And then we also have the Canada Not-for-Profit Corporations Act, which we refer to as the NFP Act. We also have the Canada Cooperatives Act, which we call the Co-op Act. And we also have the Boards of Trade Act, which we refer to as BOTA. So Now we're going to talk about if incorporation is right for you. So what are the advantages of incorporating in general, whether you decide to do that at the federal level with Corporations Canada or provincially? So one of the first advantages is that you can protect your personal assets. And one of the most compelling reasons to incorporate is limited liability, right? So you can think of it as a sort of safety net for your personal assets. If your business faces financial troubles or legal issues, your personal wealth, such as your home and your savings, would remain protected. And this separation between your personal and business assets provides you peace of mind and allows you to take calculated risks in your business. Another advantage is having access to various funding opportunities. So incorporating your business can make it easier to secure funding. Corporations can borrow money at a lower interest rate, and you're able to raise funds through the sale of stocks and bonds, which wouldn't be possible like at the individual level. So this access to capital is really vital for scaling your business, making sure it grows and making sure that you can pursue new opportunities, and it allows you to stay competitive in the market. Another advantage is the tax advantages. So as women entrepreneurs, we all know how crucial it is to manage our finances smartly. And incorporating your business often allows you to benefit from lower tax rates compared to the individual tax rates. So this means that more of your hard-earned money stays within your business, which allows you to reinvest in your business, create innovation, and expand your team. Another advantage is that you become, the corporation becomes a separate legal entity. So this means that your corporation itself can own property, enter into contracts, and obtain loans independently of you as an individual. So it simplifies many aspects of business operations and provides additional legal protections. And as female entrepreneurs, having a clear distinction between our personal and business identities can be incredibly empowering. And lastly, another advantage is the continuous existence, which is essential for long-term planning and stability. So your business can continue to thrive even if you decide to step away from the corporation, or if you want to pass the baton on to the next generation who will be running the corporation. So this aspect is particularly important for women entrepreneurs looking to build, a lasting legacy and ensure that the hard work benefits the future generations. Now we're going to discuss more in depth about the benefits of federally incorporating your business as opposed to doing it at the provincial level. So first, we'll talk about the corporate name. So federally, you have the right to conduct business activities in all provinces or territories under a single corporate name, and you're able to use that name all across Canada. Whereas if you incorporate at the provincial level, you're only able to use that name within the province that you incorporate in. Another benefit is the cost. It's less costly than some of the fees for incorporation in certain provinces and territories. Our fee is the $200 for the incorporation, and then there is an additional $13.80 for a word name if you prefer that over having a numbered name. Federally incorporating also offers flexibility. So you have a choice of your registered office location. It can be anywhere across Canada, and you're able to move that over time as well from province to province or to territory. And you also have a choice of the annual meeting location. So one year you could have your annual meeting in Ontario, the next you could have it virtually, and then the year after that you could have it in Alberta, for example. So the location is very flexible. Next, we have global recognition. So federal corporations are recognized around the world, and this is very important when you're looking to expand your business outside of Canada. And having a Canadian corporation is more recognizable than having an Alberta corporation, for example. So this might be something you want to consider when choosing between federal incorporation and provincial corporation. Now, so we'll talk about the steps that are required to incorporate federally with Corporations Canada. So in order to do this, you just have to go to our website, and on our online filing center, there is an option to incorporate your business. And then you will be brought through the following steps to do so. So the first thing would be to name your corporation. So a corporate name is the legal name of your corporation, and this name identifies your corporation, and you must use it in all contracts and invoices. And you have the choice of using a word name or a numbered name. So the name can be in English, French, or it could also be a bilingual name. And there are some requirements that have to be met in order to have your name approved. So firstly, your name must be distinctive. So this means that the name should distinguish your corporation from any other business. And it shouldn't only describe the activities, goods, or services that your corporation offers. So for example, if I want to open a bakery, I would not be able to name my corporation Bakery Incorporated. That's too general. It doesn't distinguish me from all the other bakeries that are running their business. Another requirement is that the name should not cause confusion with any existing corporate names, business names, or trademarks. So one of the goals at Corporations Canada is to not allow multiple similar or identical names so we don't confuse the public. Another requirement is that the name cannot contain any prohibited terms. For example, having Parliament Hill, United Nations, or RCMP would not be allowed in the name, just to avoid the public thinking that you are affiliated with those entities. The name should also not be misdescriptive. So for example, if I'm running a bakery shop, I wouldn't want to name my corporation Celeste Automobile Inc., for example, because that does not describe accurately what my business does. And lastly, the name must contain a legal element. So for example, this would be a term at the end of the name usually, such as limited, incorporated, corporation, or you could use the acronyms like LTD, Inc., or Corp. The next step in incorporation is to create your articles of incorporation. So this step establishes the structure of your corporation. So in the application, you will be asked your corporate name, and then you'll be able to identify your share structure and any restrictions you want to place on share transfers to other individuals. You'll also have to indicate your corporation's minimum and maximum number of directors. And then you'll also identify any restrictions that you might want to set for your business or business activities, and any other provisions that you would want for your business would be indicated in your articles of incorporation. Next, you would have to establish the initial registered office address and first board of directors. So this is a requirement for all businesses. And the registered office address is where you must keep all of your corporate records and where official documents will be served to the corporation. So you have to make sure to choose an address where you'll be sure to receive any documents sent there, since legally they will be assumed to have been received by the corporation. You'll also need to decide who will make up your corporation's board of directors. And you'll be having to disclose each director's first name, last name, address, and also indicate whether they are resident Canadian or not. And it is a requirement of the Canada Business Corporations Act that 25% of your directors are resident Canadian. Next step would be to file your information on individuals with significant control. So individuals with significant control are the people who own and control your business. And the information gathered is required by the Canada Business Corporations Act. And the goal is to provide greater transparency over who owns and controls Canadian businesses. And also it helps law enforcement agencies expose activities like money laundering and tax evasion, which are growing global concerns. And lastly, all you have to do is submit and pay the fee. So at the end of the application, you'll be prompted to pay the $200 fee in order to submit your request. And then that request will be sent to our examiners here at Corporations Canada, who will review all of the information to ensure that it all complies with the Canada Business Corporations Act. And then within 24 hours, you will receive your certificate of incorporation if everything is in order. And that would mean that you are officially incorporated. We have a lot of different support and resources available to our clients. One of them being the online filing center. So this is where you would go to incorporate, but also file a bunch of other different filings, such as changes to your registered office address or changes to your board of directors, filing your annual return, for example. We also have subscription to email services. So you could subscribe to various services such as filing reminders, Corporations Canada's news. Also, you can subscribe to email notifications for any time a corporate change has been made to your corporation. And on our website, we also have various guides and forms that will help you succeed in performing any changes you need to within your corporation. And next steps. So if you're interested more about Corporations Canada or incorporating, you can definitely visit our website for more detailed in-depth steps. And you can explore all of our available resources and support options there. You can also contact us by email and by telephone with the information you see on the screen, which will be sent to you at the end of the presentation. Thank you very much for listening to me and my presentation. And I will be passing it off to my colleague, Sado at Innovation Canada.
Thank you, Celeste. Hello, bonjour. I'd like to thank StrikeUP for having me today. I'm pleased to be with you guys today. I would like to begin by acknowledging that I am joining today from Ottawa, Ontario, on the traditional unceded territory of Algonquin and Anishinaabe people. I encourage you to take the time to think about the lands on which you are joining in. So today's presentation will be conducted in English. For the Q&A period, please feel free to ask your questions in the official language of your choice. So, as you know, entrepreneurs find it tough to navigate the business support landscape, to know what government programs are available to them and that they exist, and where to find them. Female entrepreneurs are in a unique position within the Canadian business ecosystem, with their own set of circumstances, goals, and opportunities. 2024 data from the Women's Entrepreneurship Knowledge Hub provides some key points that help to gain a more fulsome understanding of our current state. Nearly a quarter, so that's about 23.2% of Indigenous businesses owners are women. Again, nearly a quarter, so 26.1% of small and medium-sized businesses that are majority owned by women are led by women with disabilities. 16.9% of immigrant women leverage their cultural insights to incorporate export into their business operations. And 33% of women-owned businesses adopt sustainability practice and reduce waste. Our role is to make it easier for all women to find the right programs and to help them save time doing so. So we're going to spend some time together to share a brief description of Innovation Canada and its suite of programs and services, and take a closer look at the Business Benefit Finder and BizPal tools. As mentioned, my name is Sado Yusuf, and I'm a Senior Outreach Strategist here at Innovation Canada. Innovation Canada is proud to offer several programs which are committed to backing innovators and businesses at any stage at their journey. Some of these programs may sound familiar, others may be brand new. With female-owned entrepreneurs spanning the spectrum of industries, business types, and varying in size and scope, Innovation Canada has a program that can support you as you work towards a specific goal, while continuing to grow and scale. No matter where you are across the continuum, we can point you into the right direction. There might be an innovation program that is right for you. So our programs tend to fall into two categories. We have funding and services. Funding programs include ISC, which is Innovation Solutions Canada. We have CDAP, Canada Digital Adoption Program, the Strategic Innovation Fund, or SIF, and Global Innovation Clusters. ISC, which helps innovators by funding research and development and testing prototypes in real-life settings. CDAP supports Canadian companies to enhance their e-commerce and give their businesses a digital edge. SIF, whereas, provides larger scale funding, typically $10 million or more, to help cutting-edge innovators scale, develop, and commercialize their innovations. Whereas GIC brings together businesses, academic institutions, and not-for-profit organizations to help foster innovation ecosystems with a competitive edge. And our services at Innovation Canada includes BizPal, Explore IP, and Elevate IP. BizPal is a free interactive tool, online tool, that helps Canadian businesses leaders save time and money searching for the permits, licenses that need to start and grow their businesses, no matter where they are in Canada. Explore IP is Canada's online intellectual property marketplace, where businesses can find Crown-held IP and explore possible licensing and collaborations opportunities with public sector patent holders. And then Elevate IP increases IP awareness and educational opportunities to support Canadian startups. Now that we've addressed that, let's shift our focus to various ways Innovation Canada can assist you in finding the right program and services for your businesses, primarily through our Business Benefits Finder. So the Business Benefits Finder is a unique tool which brings together hundreds of programs and services from the federal government, provincial, and territorial governments, plus some nonprofits. It is maintained by a team here at Innovation Canada who connect regularly with programs and services across government to bring everything together all in one place. The Business Benefits Finder was designed to help you answer the question, what can the government do for my business right now? You'll start by answering a few questions and receive a tailored list of the programs and services that are more likely right for you, all in about 2 minutes. I know, it's awesome. Thank me later. Plus, you can narrow your search with filters for active and open applications, businesses owned by, led by underrepresented people, or focus on a specific area of interest. The Business Benefits Finder is particularly helpful in the beginning stages of business development. As an entrepreneur learns to pathfind the government landscape and finds out about the breadth of services available at their fingertips. Our own data has shown that most female entrepreneurs seeking support on the Finder are in the development stages of their business's journey. And this is ultimately the place to get a head start. Female entrepreneurs have specific goals for their businesses, and the Business Benefit Finder can connect to the support they are looking for most often. Among the most frequent identified goals, our team has been able to see that female entrepreneurs are most likely to seek out support to start or buy a business, grow or expand their business, buy or lease equipment or property, and hire or train employees. To respond to this, the Business Benefits Finder can show Canadian female entrepreneurs vital supports in areas such as funding, loans and capital investment, wage subsidies and interns, tax credit, expert advice, and much more. So before we take a look at the Finder and how it works, using the thumbs up function on Zoom, how many of you have heard or have used the Business Benefits Finder? I'm hoping there's more than just one, because that would be a little awkward, wouldn't it? So raised up, awesome. I see a couple of participants. That makes me feel so much better. All right, that's good to see a good number of attendees familiar with it. Okay, for those of you who haven't heard or used it, let's take a look at how it works. So if you are more than welcome to follow us as we show you how it works, or you can just listen. You'll start by going on our business benefits finder on the website at innovation.canada.ca. Again, that's innovation.canada.ca. I'll give some people a few seconds just in case they want to follow at the same time. I will show you how it works in just a few seconds. Give me 1 sec. Just 1 sec, guys. I'm having some technical issues. While we wait for my screen to share, I hope everyone who wants to follow at the same time is already on the website. So this is how our website looks like. All right, so just for today's example, I'm going to use Stephanie's story. Who is Stephanie? Stephanie is a 32-year-old and who identifies as a woman. She's based outside of Toronto. Okay, she owns a small inn and tour company. She has 8 employees. Her business is incorporated. Stephanie is looking for tax credits, grants, and wage subsidies to hire staff. So now let's put Stephanie's story onto the filters. So we know that Stephanie's looking for funding, tax credits, wage subsidies. And just for the sake of the story, let's say expert advice as well. Okay, you will see that you can choose any or all in many of these categories. If it makes sense to do so, you should keep in mind that the more details you provide, the more precise the filter can be by providing your results. Because we had mentioned earlier that funding, we can provide a range. We'll say that up to 250,000 Canadian dollars, but we'll show you how you can change that later on. Stephanie's main goal are to expand her business, hire new staff, plus she's probably looking to contribute to the development of her local economy. So let's include that while we're at it. As you complete each set of questions, you'll see that the total number of potential right for you programs change in real time. That's the business benefits finder filter hard at work in the background. So Stephanie's business is outside of Toronto. So we'll select Southern and Eastern Ontario. If your business operates across provinces or territories, you can choose multiple options here or click on all of Canada. Stephanie has a tourism business, so we'll select tourism, accommodation, and food services. More specifically, Stephanie falls into 2 categories here. So she has a couple of choices. She can choose one or the other, so of accommodation or amusement and recreation, or she can choose not sure. For this, we'll select accommodation, so we can show you a little trick when we get to the results. I had mentioned earlier that Stephanie has 8 employees with an annual range between 100,000 and 499,000. Her business is incorporated and for profit, so we'll select that as well. The last question is where you can get into some specific support programs. Selecting a filter does not include other options, but it does include supports that specifically address the filters you have selected. You can select as many categories as you identify with, or choose select none or that you are unsure. Here, we're going to select Black Canadian, women, and under 40. When you're done, choose whether you want to see all the available programs or only programs that are currently accepting clients. And that's the one we'll choose here. Here's the summary of your story. All the answers you provided to help filter the results. Note that these can be adjusted right away. You can save your story to stay up to date, and you don't need to re-enter information each time by signing in. This is that little trick I mentioned that comes in. We can save this version of the story as accommodation and then adjust that filter to show us results for amusement and recreation. Then when you come back to sign in, the results for both searches are already accessible and you'll receive email notifications when there are changes. You'll see tailored results grouped by category based on the information you are looking for. In each category, you'll see the programs that are most likely to relate to each need. Each one comes with a brief description. When you click on more, a slightly more detailed description will appear. So on top of the support you are looking for and the additional support you qualify for, as you scroll down towards the bottom of the page, you will see that we have thrown a few little extras too. Things you weren't necessarily looking for, but that might be useful anyway. To begin, perfect. So that's our business benefits finder. Let me move on to our BizPal. So to begin, the name BizPal actually is a mesh of the words business, permits, and licenses. And as the name suggests, we offer an online service tool, a website for businesses to find permits, licenses, and other regulatory information across all levels of government. So federal, provincial, territorial, and municipal. This might be new to a lot of you. So let me show you how it works through the demo. So we'll go to we are already on the BizPal website. So you add your location. So we are in Ottawa, Ontario, and then you click an industry. What industry should we add? For this, we'll say tourism. And then once you put the industry, you can click on search. This will give you all the permits, you can browse by activity, and all the information that you may need that's available to you, permits and business and licenses wise. And you can get more information by scrolling down and by contacting us or clicking on more information. So this finally brings us to our Q&A session, where we can learn more about each other. Please feel free to ask questions in the official languages of your choice, français ou en anglais. Thank you for letting me speak to you about Innovation Canada programs and services. If you have any follow-up questions, please don't hesitate to reach out. If I don't have the answer, I can certainly reach out to a member of my team. Thank you.
Hi, can I ask you a question?
Yeah, absolutely. Are we starting the question and answer period?
I think that's totally fine.
Okay, awesome.
Okay, I have a question that I
Yes.
have a company and I'm in the process of incorporating it.
Oh, okay.
And
I'll let Celeste answer this question actually, because I think that's for her.
okay. Okay, but my question is, if I incorporate myself, what mistakes can I make? Because I just talked to various people and they said it's better to incorporate your company through the lawyer, and because you won't be making mistakes, and then it costs more money afterwards, and then if you make a mistake and then you need to hire a lawyer at that time, and then then you will be ending up paying more money to the lawyers. So what is your opinion regarding this? Is it okay to incorporate all by ourselves? And plus, at the moment, I don't know whether my company will be limited or in corp, or can I just incorporate just the company without putting any limited or any other like or any or incorporate or any other kind of the name that you want to give it to your company. Just only the name of the company can I incorporate myself, and then later on when I understand what I would like my company to be known as, then I can add it to it. What is your opinion regarding this?
Thank you so much for the question. It's a very good question. So it's definitely not required to hire a lawyer to incorporate. It's a personal choice if you do want to, if you feel more confident having that additional help and support from someone who does incorporation every day for clients all the time. They are very knowledgeable, but it's definitely not a requirement. And a lot of our clients do it without a lawyer or an accountant or anything like that. And all the information that you would need to incorporate is already on our website. So I do suggest going to our website and reading all of the relevant information before you go ahead and actually incorporate. And touching upon your point about you're afraid of making a mistake maybe in the process, a lot of the time that's what our examiners are there for. So once we receive applications for incorporation, what we do is we review the whole thing and make sure that your application complies with the Canada Business Corporations Act. If there's anything wrong in the application that we notice, we'll return it to you and explain exactly what needs to be done to rectify the issue. You don't need any assistance from a lawyer for that. You can just go ahead and resubmit, making those modifications, and you'll be good to go. So you definitely don't need a lawyer, but if that makes you feel more at ease with the decisions that you're making while incorporating, it's definitely an option. And when it comes to your point about the legal element portion of your name, so having the Inc., incorporated, limited, stuff like that, it is a mandatory requirement for a federally incorporated business to have that legal element as part of the name. But you're also able to have operating names, which is separate from like your legal corporation name. So I could have a numbered name, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, Canada Inc. And that's like my legal name federally. But you can also register operating names with the province as well. So if you want to have a numbered name but want to be known as like Celeste Bakery Inc., or not Inc., but just Celeste Bakery to clients in Ontario, then you would go to the province and ask for like an operating name from them. But yeah, for the legal name, you would need that legal element.
Yeah, I would. Okay. Okay, thank you.
No problem.
Perfect. So we have a couple of questions here from the chat. So I will run through a couple of those for both of you. So we have a question from Bridget. Can you use your existing name? So she says, we already have a board of directors and are incorporated for the province.
Yes. So that definitely is possible. So if you are already provincially incorporated and want to make the switch, that's totally possible. But it's not called an incorporation at that point. On our side, we would call that a continuance import. So you're already incorporated provincially and you just need to import your business to the federal level. So a lot of the process for that is like the same type of questions we would ask in the incorporation anyway. It's just named something different. And you are able to apply for the same name, or if you want to change your name, you can also completely change the name as well. If there's any issues with the application and with the name, our examiners would be able to identify that. But for the most part, you would be able to just simply keep your same name that you're already using within the province, so long as it meets all of our requirements that I previously discussed during my presentation.
Perfect. Thank you. So we have kind of a comment and a question from Kathleen. So she says, why do various forms of government and financial institutions not acknowledge when a company is incorporated and treat them as such. So her experience is that they have treated her as if the corporation is a sole proprietorship, even though she tells them otherwise and provide evidence. Do you have anything you might have to share about that, perhaps?
Yeah, that's definitely odd since you have all the paperwork proving that you are incorporated federally, and it definitely proves that you're not a sole proprietorship. So I'm not sure if there's anything else that you could do on your end other than just continue to provide that proof, that certificate of incorporation. It seems like more of an issue on the receiving end there.
Sounds right. Okay, so we have another question here. Can I register different business names under one corporation?
Yeah, that's definitely possible. So while I was answering the first question, I mentioned that you can have operating names. So you can have multiple operating names. This is all done at the provincial level. So after you're incorporated, if you want to go ahead and apply for those, you just reach out to your provinces or territories and discuss that with them. And you can have multiple.
Perfect. So we have another question here. So it's coming from Katya. So she says, I am currently incorporated in Quebec. Can I be incorporated as well in Canada? So would that be a double incorporation, or do I need to transfer my incorporation from Quebec to Canada?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a good question. We get that often a lot. So you cannot be incorporated both provincially and federally at the same time. You really have to choose one or the other. So in this case, if you want to make the switch, as I said earlier, you'd have to apply for a continuance import. I forgot to mention earlier that the first step would be to actually contact your province and get an authorization letter from them first, just so that they'll give you the permission to come to us. And you would have to provide that authorization letter to us during the process. So if you go to our website and look at our continuance import section, you'll be able to find all the details there. But yeah, you can only be incorporated provincially or federally.
All right. So can temporary residents, so students, work, or refugee visas, incorporate a business in Canada?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's definitely possible. The only requirement is that for the board of directors, like the actual directors of the corporation, 25% of them have to be resident Canadian. So as long as that is met, then yes, that's possible.
Perfect. So we have a note here from Dorothy as well. So she says that she registered her business as a corporation, but later attached a DBA, so doing business as with a different name. Since the DBA uses the same registration number, does it inherit all the benefits of the corporation?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So yes, definitely the answer to that question is yes. So if the operating name or doing business as name is registered under that same like corporation number, then yep.
Perfect. She also asked as well, do you consider yourself an employee if you are the only person currently in the corporation? I'm not sure if that's for the business benefits finder tool or general question.
Yeah, so a lot of the times we see like it's like a one-woman show. They're like the director, the sole director, sole owner, sole employee, sole everything. So you can wear many hats under the same corporation. So technically, I guess you could say like you are the sole employee, but also the sole owner, the sole everything. So it's definitely possible to be all at once.
Perfect. Is there an annual fee that's due to maintain the incorporated status?
Mm-hmm. Yes, there is. So that is called an annual return, and that's required for all corporations, business or not-for-profit. And it's a $12 fee that you pay online every year on your anniversary date, which is the date that your corporation was created. And this is just to let us know that you're still active, you're still in business. And there's a couple questions just to let us know about like the status of your corporation, but it's a very quick filing done in our online filing center every year.
Perfect. So this question would be for Sado. So the Business Benefit Finders tool doesn't list every industry. Does selecting not sure impact the results? So not being addressed to your specific industry or needs?
No. So I suggest if the industry is not there to write not sure, because some programs or some services available in Business Benefits Finder are open to all industries, no matter what industry you're in. So you will not be penalized by clicking not sure.
Perfect. So we have another comment here. So they're stating that they are a limited Canadian company, but are also required to register with the province, asking what that might entail or why is that the case?
Yeah, definitely. So it is a requirement that when you incorporate federally, you must also register your business in the province or multiple provinces or territories that you're actually operating in. It might seem a little counterintuitive. Well, I already did the federal portion. Why do I have to do a provincial thing again? It is required that the provinces know that you're doing business within that province or territory. So I agree, it's kind of a lot of an extra step or a little bit annoying to have to do a bit more, but it is worth it for the federal benefits that you would receive. So yeah, I hope that answers your question.
Thank you. Okay, so we have another comment here. So I am a non-Canadian in visitor status. I incorporated my business in Alberta, Canada, while I was a student here 2 years back. So will my company still be eligible for funds and grants? And they run a tech AI based startup.
Well, if you're still active in our database, I assume that's a possibility. I'm not sure like what grants would be available to you. I think that's more of a question for Sado, but if you are still incorporated and active and been paying the annual returns, if you're in active status, then I assume you would still be eligible for some of those.
Kind of a jump, kind of a similar question. So if I'm federally incorporated and I want to do business with clients in Canada and the United States in technology, but I am not a permanent resident, could I do business in the United States? And are there tax rules?
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't think I'm too knowledgeable on that subject to give you like a correct answer right now. So we can definitely get back to you on that one.
See here. Okay, so we have another comment here. So I'd like to start an employment support service corporation. So their specialty is in HR. They want to help job seekers to review or draft their resume, help in job search, prepare for interviews. They have 2 questions. So do I need a license for this other than the business registration? And then if there are any funding that I can get and offer services for free to job seekers.
I'm not sure if this question is for me.
I think they're mostly looking to see if they'd need any type of additional license or permit besides business registration or incorporation.
In this specific circumstance, I'm not too sure about the license, but for the second portion of the funding, I'm not sure if Sado has anything to add for that.
I'm not sure if I have the answer to that one.
This might be a good business benefits finder tool question to kind of go through those steps. So you can get your specifics there. So I would suggest using that tool and see what resources come out through that tool of search. Okay. Here, sorry, just scrolling through to see if you have any further questions.
I believe someone has their hand up. They had
Okay.
one. I saw a mention, like I've been responding to some of the questions actually in the chat.
Great.
I
Yeah,
think
feel
this-
free to take yourself off mute there if you've got a question you'd like to ask.
Yeah, I had a question. Well, I had a series of them, which is why I didn't write it down. My first question is regarding incorporating your name. So I've heard, someone suggest incorporating your name and then having let's use the example Celeste you were giving, Celeste Bakery, and then Celeste Bakery being my operating name, but then my incorporated name is my name, so like Obianuju Harbor Inc., right? So I don't know what are the comments towards that. And then the idea being that if I decide to open Celeste restaurants, then that can also sit under my incorporated name question mark. So yeah, so that's the first question I have, if you have any response to that.
Mhm. Yeah, so one of the requirements for naming a corporation is that it cannot solely be a person's name.
Mm-hmm.
So my name, Celeste Pinkney, I can't run a business called Celeste Pinkney Inc. We would not accept that here at Corporations Canada. You could have your name as part of the name as a whole if you add additional elements to the name, like Celeste Pinkney's Bakery Incorporated, then that would be acceptable because there's more than just solely a person's name.
Right.
But yeah, it's unfortunately not possible to just have a person's name,
Okay.
the legal corporation name. When it comes to the operating names, I'm not too sure at that level. That would be a question you could call your province, the provincial registrar for. But yeah, federally, it cannot be your name.
Okay, so let's even say it's a numbered corporation. Can I run different businesses? So then I have my numbered corporation, but then I have, let's say, for example, two operating names because I'm running two separate businesses. Is that legal or fine?
It really depends on the structure of your corporation. So if for example, like you need two separate tax accounts or CRA, then you would need two separate corporations, right? But if all of the it really just depends on the structure of your corporation, to be honest. It is possible to have like multiple different like avenue streams from coming into one corporation. I think like we need more information about like the structure of the business before giving
Okay.
a definitive answer.
Okay, that's fair. And then getting the operating name, is that like I know that's a separate process, and I'm assuming that has an additional cost associated with it.
Mhm. Yeah, I'm not too familiar with like the fees for that, but they are done at the provincial and territorial level. So for that, I assume it would be different costs depending on which province or territory you're going to. So
Okay.
depending on where you live, I would call your province or territorial register to inquire about that.
Okay. And then my last question, I know, I think during your presentation, you were talking about how, well, generally within Asterix, it's good to be federally incorporated as opposed to provincially. But I guess for someone who's starting off their business and in the meantime doesn't see themselves operating in more than their province, would you say it's safer to just start off on a provincial level, even though they want to be able to operate Canada-wide, at least like down the line, right? Or would you say it's just better to, take the jump from the start and just get yourself incorporated federally?
Mhm. Yeah, if the intention is definitely there to expand beyond your province, I would definitely suggest just doing the federal incorporation to begin with, because there are additional costs later on if you started off provincial and want to move
Yeah.
federal. So there's a lot, there's a cost to it, for sure. That's what some business owners were mentioning in the comments, that they're already provincially incorporated and they want to switch over. So yeah, if the intention is definitely there from the beginning, I would suggest federal incorporation. If you really just plan on sticking within that province or territory, it is a personal choice. You could definitely still just incorporate federally for those extra benefits, other than the ability to operate in multiple provinces and regions and stuff like that. And then at that point, it would just be a personal choice. But if the intention is to really expand and grow your business, then I would suggest federal incorporation.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Perfect. We have one other attendee here with their hand up. So if you want to ask your question, go ahead.
Hi. So it's I remember you mentioned 25% of the share need to be owned by a Canadian or permanent resident. And when I checked with one of my lawyers, they told me like it's 51%. Like it's the information is contradicting. So I wanted to make sure.
Yeah, so when I was speaking about the 25% like rule, that is in relation to the directors of the corporation. So not the shareholders, but the directors. Those are two separate things.
Okay.
So the directors are more of the role of dealing with the day-to-day business of the corporation, whereas the shareholders are the ones who actually own shares, own a part of the corporation. So it's the directors that have to be 25%.
And what about the ownership?
Yeah, when it comes to shareholders, Corporations Canada does not ask for that information. We don't really deal with that. So yeah, I'm not too sure about the residency rule for the shareholders. Yeah, we'd maybe have to look into that a bit more.
All right, thank you. And I have another question. I incorporated, that was already asked, but I have some addition to that. I incorporated my company when I was a student in Alberta. It was a provincial incorporation. So like now I want to make it federal because though my company is based in Alberta, my one is a tech company. It's an app. So it's operating almost and marketing all over Canada. And my operation should be, I'm trying to establish a branch on Toronto, Ontario, or like, is it like easy to make it as a federal company or just establish as a branch?
I see what you mean. Yeah, so if you're wanting to operate in other provinces, so that means like actually having like a physical business in other like provinces or territories, then yeah, you would have to switch over to federal if you're doing it in multiple areas. But if you're just in one province, but then you're reaching out to other provinces, but not necessarily working there, then yeah, you could stick to provincial. But if you're creating a physical branch in Ontario, then yeah, you would need to definitely switch over to the federal.
All right, thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, I think we have time for one last question there, and then we'll wrap up for the day. I'm trying to collect some of the questions that may not be addressed today so we can share with the team for outreach later. So I have a federal corporation that operates online, so e-commerce, under a trademarked brand name owned by the corporation. Would that brand name be considered as the operating name, or can I just use my brand name as the front for my corporation? So they plan on having multiple brand names under the corporation operating in the same industry.
So could you repeat? I'm not sure I understand the question.
Yeah, so it sounds like they are asking, so they have a federal corporation that operates online under a trademark brand name that's owned by the corporation. So would that brand name be considered as the operating name, or can I just use my brand name as the front for the corporation?
Okay, I see. Yeah, that's a good question. So yeah, you have a brand name, a trademark under the corporation. Yeah. Unfortunately, that's not something Corporations Canada is very familiar with. I think this would be more of a question for the Canadian Intellectual Property Office who issued the trademark, or the provinces who issued the operating names.
Okay. Thank you. So I'm going to go through, try to save some of the questions that we may not have had a chance to address today. Great questions. Thank you so much to Celeste and Sado for joining us today. Really appreciate your time and the information that you've been able to share with us. It was really great to walk through those tools as well and have some information for Canadian women who are looking to start and grow their businesses. So if our audience here today is looking to continue to expand your knowledge, you may want to join us at our next StrikeUP Connects webinar in September. So that is Exporting 101 with FIT, which is presented by our partner EDC, to learn how to assess whether exporting is right for your business and which key strategies can help you grow globally successfully. So this next webinar is taking place Thursday, September 19th from 1 to 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if you aren't already, make sure you sign up for our newsletter at strikeup.ca to receive notice when the registration link goes live. So the StrikeUp founders are also hosting an information session about our Delia Microloan Fund program for women entrepreneurs. So join us on Thursday, August 29th at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to learn about the financing program up to $50,000 for women entrepreneurs. So as a reminder, this presentation has been recorded. So you will receive an email tomorrow with the link to rewatch or share the webinar recording. You'll receive a copy of today's presentations in English and in French, which will include quick links to connect you with the resources and tools shared today, as well as a post-event survey. So thank you so much for joining us today, and we look forward to welcoming you to our next StrikeUP Connects webinar. Thank you, everyone, and have a great day.